Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. And it's the end of the month of June, and as you know, I've made June a theme month for my channel, and this year's theme is the OSR. And in this video, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to go through a bunch of my OSR books that I have in my collection. And I'm pretty sure this isn't all of them, but we're going to go through what I've brought here with me and talk a little bit about them to give you an idea of what all is out there and maybe help you and your players come up with an idea of an OSR that you'd like to try if you've been interested in checking out the OSR. So where we're going to begin is we're going to begin with the classic and where it all pretty much got its start. That would be original Dungeons and Dragons, whether it be basic Dungeons and Dragons, advanced first edition, or advanced second edition. Now, basic Dungeons and Dragons is where I got my start in role playing, so it's always going to have a soft spot in my heart and be my favorite out of these three. And if you want simple rules in your Dungeons and Dragons game, then basic is the way to go. If you want more complexity, then first or second advanced editions would be the way to go. Preferably, I prefer second over first, but that's just me because when I went from basic to advanced, I went to second. I never really played much first edition. Now, all of these have pretty much the same problem, and that would be they're pretty limiting as far as non-human characters go, as far as what classes they can choose and how far they can advance. But otherwise, they are the classics, and if you wanted to take a look back at where your Dungeons and Dragons got its start, these would be a way to go. Keeping that in mind, we're going to do something a little different on this next one. And not a lot, I don't know, this one is kind of an OSR, and that's Gamma World. This is the 4th edition of the game. And each edition of Gamma World, there are like 7. They use a completely different rule set in each version, pretty much. The only ones that are remotely the same is maybe 1st and 2nd edition. But anyway, 4th edition is pretty close to what you'd find in the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. A lot of differences, but close. And so I included it in the OSR. So if you like a setting that is post-apocalyptic and does a lot of things different from regular D&D, this would be something you would want to check out. Either 4th edition, 3rd edition, 2nd, or 1st. Anything beyond that, I really wouldn't consider OSR. And then we're going to take a completely different route here. And we're going to look at Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 1st Edition. This book uses a percentile system and is pretty cool. I ran a good long campaign in this for a long time ago, and everybody enjoyed it. Now, some people probably wouldn't consider this OSR, but a lot of people do. And this game is pretty lethal, but also really cool in the way characters advance and everything. So if you're looking for a system with a little bit darker edge than regular Dungeons and Dragons and uses a different rule set, this would be something you could look into. A lot of fun we've had with this game. That being said, this next game we're going to talk about is Zweihander. And it pretty much uses the same rules as Warhammer Fantasy, but there are some differences. This is kind of a newer system, and it still maintains that dark edge, and characters advance pretty much the same, and it's still a percentile system. The only problem I have with Zweihander is it's a 3-tier cap. You do your 3 tiers and your character's done. Now, they mention here that you can forego that and run it like this where there is no cap. And that's how I prefer it, but there is what it is. And they have some new rules in here for you too. So that's what I have to say about Zweihander. This next one we're going to look at is basic fantasy roleplay. This is a good idea for you to look into. If you're brand new to OSR games and just want to check them out, but you don't want to invest a lot of money, definitely look into this. The core rule book will cost you under $10, and it has everything you need to play. You can get PDFs of the core rule book and any of the supplements for it for free online. So it's a very inexpensive option for you to check out the OSR, and it's almost like a hybrid between old school advanced and 3rd edition maybe. And it's got some elements of basic in there. But it's a very simple game, very cool, very inexpensive. You want to take a look and see what it's about. I would recommend it. This next one is a big one. Dungeon Crawl Classics. This is a cool game. It has that feel of the old school role-playing game with doing it while doing its own thing. There's a system for luck in here. There is a really cool system to flesh out critical hits. Magic is done a little bit differently and is both lethal and scary, both for the caster and the people he's casting it on. And it has in character creation, it has what's called the funnel. And I have never run a funnel, and that hasn't ended with everybody having a blast. This one I would highly recommend. Don't let the thick size intimidate you. This is a very good book, very easy to learn. That being said, there's also Mutant Crawl Classics, which this would be the Gamma World, the Dungeons & Dragons, as you know. So it uses the same rules as Dungeon Crawl Classics, and you can combine the two to come up with a really messed up setting. So there's that for your game. After that, we have Crimson Dragon Slayer. Now this uses a sort of D6 system, but it's still an OSR. There is a newer version of this game out that does use the modern D20 system. And this is definitely an OSR, and it's dark, weird, and I've done a video on it, so if you want to know more, you can check that out. Now, one of my favorite OSRs is Lamentations of the Flame Princess. This definitely brings back all the feelings of basic Dungeons & Dragons, while bringing some more modern takes like an ascending armor class instead of descending, and a few other tweaks. It's made to be a weird, dark game. So a lot of its stuff has more adult themes. So if you're not into that, you probably won't like this game much, but I am into it, so that's got it for me. Speaking of dark, there's Morkborg. This is a messed up game. It's kind of got an evil flair to it. If you want a dark, evil game, this would be something you should check out. It doesn't use quite the same rules as you find in the D20 system, but it does use D20 rules. But if you want something more close to the source, there's White Box. The White Box is pretty much as close as you can get to original Dungeons & Dragons. And this book's got everything you need. But, like I said, it's pretty much original. Not much more I can say other than that. Then we have, if you don't want to go fantasy, you can go science fiction with Machinations of the Space Princess. Now, this book pretty much uses the same rules as Lamentations of the Flame Princess. So you could combine the two to come up with a very weird science fiction fantasy game. And I love this game too. After that, we have Forgotten Tales of Sword and Sorcery. This book pretty much is a rehash of the white box, made more simple, and has got a bunch of options in it for you. So it's a cheap game, inexpensive, so you won't feel that bad about purchasing it. Then we have Realms of Peril, and I've covered this one recently. Realms of Peril, they do a lot of options for the classes, which is very cool. So if you want a lot of options for your characters, it gives you a feel of having a lot more character classes. This would be a good look for you. After that, we have Savage Sword and Sorcery. And again, this is a D100 system based off the old Conan rules put out by TSR. And I'm not much into it, but it's got a lot of good ideas in here. And then we have one that I haven't looked at yet on the channel, Beneath the Sunken Catacombs. This book is pretty cool. It's an OSR game, again, that gives you options for your character classes. So when you're creating your character, you can do a lot of things, swapping with the abilities and create sort of new classes. So that's pretty cool. Then we have the hack system, and there is the zombie hack, and the hack system is based off the black hat, so it's the OSR made simpler. And this is a game about being a survivor during the zombie apocalypse. So if you want to fight zombies in your OSR with modern machine guns, this is the book for you. If you like Wraith the Oblivion from White Wolf, then you might like the Ghost Hack, because it's essentially Wraith the Oblivion done to the old school Dungeons & Dragons rules. Then we have the Blue Lotus Hack. The Blue Lotus Hack is another fantasy game using the black hack rules, and it does a few different things with magic and everything, so it's a nifty thing that you could look into. And finally, horror-wise again, we have the Vampire Hack. And this is pretty much Vampire the Masquerade put to old school Dungeons & Dragons rules. So it's pretty nifty. I looked at this one just recently. So that's kind of what's all out there. There's a lot more. There's Osric. There is a game called Orc and Bone from another game company. And there is just a lot out there for you to look into. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So thank you for joining me at a very quick look at a bunch of different games. And hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.